Hello and welcome. Namaste from New Delhi. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Gautam Roy. Coming up over the next 30 minutes. At least 14 Gen Z protesters killed in Nepal. Parliament gate stormed. Curfew imposed in parts of Kathmandu after government bans all unregistered social media, including X, YouTube, WhatsApp, Facebook and Instagram. India and Israel signed a bilateral investment treaty in New Delhi with an aim to strengthen economic ties and pave the way for a free trade agreement. France is set to lose or see off its third Prime Minister in less than a year, with the incumbent Prasar Bharati poised to lose a confidence vote later today. And Ariana Grande wins the Video of the Year for Brighter Days Ahead at the MTV Video Music Awards in New York. Sabrina and Lady Gaga also pick up multiple trophies. Fourteen people have been killed and many others have been injured after police fired bullets when the demonstration of Gen Z turned violent in Bhaneshwar of the Kathmandu region in Nepal on Monday. The demonstrations turned violent after protesters stormed the federal parliament premises and clashed with the police. Curfew has been imposed in Kathmandu's Bhaneshwar area. Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli has called an emergency meeting of Council of Ministers and the National Security Council later in the evening. The social media ban came into effect on the 4th of September, targeting platforms which had not registered with the Nepalese government despite multiple warnings. Now, these include major sites like Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, X as well as YouTube. The protesters are demanding an end to the social media ban, which they see as a digitally repressive move that curtails free speech and expression. Let's get you the latest from the ground. Joining us now from Kathmandu is DD India Shweta Singh. Well, good evening to you, Shweta. What's the situation like in the country now, and how could it deteriorate to such an extent that at least 14 protesters have been killed in the clashes?
Gautam, you see, the protest started in the morning. It was like all college students, lakhs of youth, all were present in Mehtighar, and they progressed towards the Bhaneshwar National Assembly building. It was actually unexpected that these youth would climb the wall and try to enter into National Assembly premise, which is not expected, because it was informed that the this procession would be very peaceful. The youth would organize songs and dance, and then they would raise the concerns. But turning this in a violent form, it was not at all expected, and it was not informed earlier that it would be in this form. Though police was prepared and see cannon, water cannon, tear gas and everything was in place for just deterring the students, discouraging the youth from entering National Assembly building. But this misfortunately happened, and 14 people have died, 5 are critically injured, and more than 100 demonstrators are getting treatment in various hospitals in Kathmandu. This protest not only happened in Kathmandu, you see, it happened in Hetauda, it happened in Pokhara, it happened in Dang. So it was like, because TikTok is yet working here. So students initiated this conversation that they would gather in Mehtighar and then protest and demand a ban to be lifted on social media, because it's a virtual platform where the youth are discussing. It's not just for sharing their ideas, but it is for various purposes that social media has been used in Nepal. So you see, this sadly turned into violent form, and 14 people have died. This is really upsetting here.
How is TikTok working? You said TikTok is working there, and so perhaps
Yeah.
the students managed to organize through TikTok. Is it the only social media app or platform which is registered, and why have the others not registered? What is their objection to registering?
Gautam, I would remind you previous year, TikTok was banned in Nepal in April 2024. So that time, government of Nepal was against TikTok because it was like a platform where people used to start dancing, singing, creating reel, and it had really disrupted the normal life in the valley. So you could see everywhere people holding the mobile, dancing to the tune in the mid of the road, doing stunts, and government of Nepal could not control that. So TikTok was banned. After it was banned in April, TikTok opened its office in Nepal and had a communication officer, which is directly reporting and talking to government of Nepal here. So TikTok is permitted here in Nepal and it is functioning. 1 year back, other platforms were also asked to open an office here and have a communication officer. But none of the social media websites, including Facebook, WhatsApp, YouTube, Instagram, none of them complied. And hence, on August 28 this year, government of Nepal had given ultimatum of 7 days that if none of the social media websites gets their office registered here in Nepal, they will be banned. And
Okay.
so this from September 4 onwards, in 4 days, people were really frustrated, annoyed. I would say basically Gen Z because they are the one who are more dependent on social media for various activities, chatting, education, academics. So they are the one who are adversely affected, and they took a point to raise their voice today. So
Okay,
from
we
virtual
can see
platforms, you see,
those.
this was the first time
Yes,
that
we
they
can
came
see
on
those
against
images.
boundary
They
points.
speak for themselves. But what are the options now, Shweta, for the Nepalese government, as Prime Minister Oli is also holding some key meetings?
Gautam, you see now, Mr. Oli had called an emergency meeting here in Balu Avatar at his residence of National Council or Security Council. This is basically to secure the valley, to bring down this protest, to escalate further. But you see, for the social media banning, government is very clear that they were given 1 year of time to register. 7 days of ultimatum was also given past before September 4, and yet nobody complied. And I would remind again on Friday in CPN UML National Convention, which was chaired by KP Sharma Oli himself, he very clearly told, we have fought for the sovereignty of this country. We have fought for the sovereignty. So now, just because social media website companies are not following the local government norms, we will not budge by their terms, because the simple request was to ask them to get registered in Nepal and have a communication officer here, because they are earning revenue from Nepal. In spite of having business, if they are not ready to comply with the local laws, action has to be taken. So government was very clear in that. And seeing, but today's case when 14 people have died, this is a serious condition when youth population, they are the future of the country. 14 people dying is like, it's a huge loss.
Yes.
So you see, we have to wait for final decision that's coming out from meeting today that's happening in Balu Avatar. I will update our viewers regarding final outcome.
Right, certainly, Shweta. Thanks a lot for joining us from Kathmandu. We'll have to wait and see what sort of call does the government take now, because circumstances seem to have changed very dramatically as far as its step to ban these unregistered social media platforms is concerned. Thanks. Now, India and Israel have signed a landmark bilateral investment agreement in New Delhi on Monday, which would help promote investments between the two nations. From the Indian side, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman signed the deal, while her Israeli counterpart, Bezalel Smotrich, led the economic delegation to seal the cooperation agreement. During his 3-day visit, Smotrich is also expected to meet with senior government officials alongside business representatives and representatives of the Jewish community in the country. Now, President Draupadi Murmu has addressed the Platinum Jubilee celebrations of Engineering Export Promotion Council, or EEPC, in New Delhi on Monday. The President released a commemorative stamp marking 70 years of EEPC. Addressing the event, she stressed that India's engineering exports have increased from 70 billion US dollars to more than 115 billion US dollars. EEPC acts as a bridge between the international market and Indian producers.
इनोवेशन इकोनॉमीज विश्व के सबसे अधिक कॉम्पिटिटिव और प्रॉस्परस इकोनॉमीज भारत में उपलब्ध प्रतिभा और ऊर्जा यानी टैलेंट और एनर्जी को एनाबलिंग इकोसिस्टम प्रदान करके भारत को एक लीडिंग इनोवेशन इकोनॉमी बनाने का संकल्प आप सबको लेना चाहिए। विकसित भारत के निर्माण के संकल्प को पूरा करने की दिशा में और तेज गति के साथ अपना योगदान दीजिए।
Union Minister for Commerce and Industry Piyush Goyal also attended the Platinum Jubilee celebrations of the EEPC, and addressing the event, the minister reiterated the call for vocal for local, urging citizens, businesses and industry to promote and use domestic products.
हर व्यक्ति जो आज आयात के ऊपर निर्भर है, वो अपनी सप्लाई चेन देखेगा, क्या चीजें उसमें ऐसी हैं जो भारत में मिल सकती हैं, क्यों ना मैं स्वदेशी चीज इस्तेमाल करूं ज्यादा से ज्यादा, क्यों ना मैं कोशिश करूं कि कोई ना कोई मेरे भाई बहन जो स्वदेशी सामान बनाने में या सेवा देने में जुटे हुए, उनकी आमदनी बढ़े, उनको और मौके मिले.
And highlighting the recent challenges faced due to export controls and restrictions, the minister emphasized the need for self-reliance is crucial for national progress, economic security and inclusive growth.
हाल में ही हमने देखा, कोई भी देश कभी भी किसी ना किसी चीज में एक्सपोर्ट कंट्रोल लगाए या रिस्ट्रिक्ट करे या हमारे पास कोई आवश्यक वस्तु पहुंचने ना दे, तो कितनी तकलीफ आ सकती है हमारे व्यापार को, हमारे उद्योग को. इसलिए आत्मनिर्भर भारत का जो कॉल टू एक्शन हम सब के सामने है, उसे हम सब स्वीकार करें.
Now, India's industry experts have said that the GST reforms not only build trust between the state and citizens, but will also strengthen India's position as a resilient, investment-friendly economy. CII Telangana Chair R.S. Reddy and Vice Chair M. Gautam termed GST 2.0 framework as a landmark move which will benefit the MSME sector as well as the food and agriculture sectors. FTCCI chief said these reforms are expected to bring significant cost relief to different sectors. And still to come in this edition of DD India Live. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu vows to catch everyone who helped attackers after a shooting in Jerusalem kills at least 6 people. And Indonesia gets a new economist finance minister. Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Gautam Roy. French Prime Minister Prasar Bharati's no-confidence vote on Monday is expected to face a defeat. This will also force President Macron to look for another prime ministerial candidate, as he may not be willing to hold snap elections anytime soon. Fueling the ongoing economic and political chaos in Eurozone's second biggest economy, already facing huge public debt at 113.9% of GDP. Reacting to the vote, Germany said that this will not impact the Eurozone's stability, as it depends on many states and all market participants. The result is to be declared by around 1700 GMT. Now, Germany had high hopes to overcome its economic weakness this year, but recent numbers put a dampener on that. Now, several economic research institutes have analyzed the outlook for the country. Lars Holters with Deutsche Welle and is joining me now from Berlin to talk about it. Lars, good evening to you. What can you tell us about the latest estimates?
Thanks for having me. Well, I would like to say that there's light at the end of the tunnel, but unfortunately, while that is true, the tunnel is also quite a bit longer than the maps were showing, and the light at the end is a little dimmer than we were hoping for. Now, here's the data. Even though Germany's economy shrunk a bit in the second quarter, analysts are not expecting another recession, so they're not too worried about another negative number. That's certainly a relief. However, they're expecting economic growth of only 0.1% at the EFW Institute and 0.2% over at the Leibniz Institute. So both expert groups individually reached the conclusion that any growth we'll be seeing this year will be very, very modest, especially compared to the much more optimistic estimate of growth of 0.3% just a few months ago. What happened since then? Well, the government's rescue package hasn't quite done what it was supposed to do yet, including with regards to energy prices, for example, that were lowered for some top users in the industry, but not for everyone.
Okay, but Lars, let's focus on the positive news for now. Where is the growth mostly coming from over the next few years?
Yeah, well, that's why I said earlier that the light at the end of the tunnel is a bit dimmer too. This growth we're expecting is mostly due to government intervention. So it is bought by the government and the taxpayer. First of all, it's the multi-billion euro rescue packages, of course, that are helping the economy. Here are both 500 billion euro investment packages, one for infrastructure and one for defense. They're both helping tremendously, of course, but then there are energy subsidies, there are extra write-offs that were put in the tax laws recently, there are lower taxes for hospitality and tax cuts for seniors. All that is obviously helping towards economic growth, but it does cost the government a lot of money, at least 40 billion in 2026 and another 20 billion in 2027, according to the experts. Then again, it's at least a good government intervention. And with the kind of reforms corporate Germany has been asking for now for a long time, Berlin could actually boost growth in future too.
All right. Well, let's hope that happens. Thanks a lot for joining us, Lars, from Berlin. Now, U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said Sunday that he is confident that President Donald Trump's tariff plan will win at the Supreme Court, but warned his agency would be forced to issue massive refunds if the High Court rules against it. The Trump administration last week asked the Supreme Court for an expedited ruling to overturn an appeals court decision that found most of his tariffs on imports from other countries to be illegal. Generally, the Supreme Court could take as long as early next summer to issue a decision on the legality of Donald Trump's tariffs. Bessent has said that delaying a ruling until June 2026 could result in a scenario in which $750 billion to $1 trillion in tariffs have already been collected, and unwinding them could cause significant disruption. The prospect of the government having to refund tariffs of that magnitude could mean an unprecedented windfall to the businesses and entities that paid these sums. Palestinian gunmen opened fire at a bus stop in Israeli-annexed East Jerusalem on Monday, killing 6 people and wounding several others. Israeli Emergency Service Magen David Adom said that 7 of the injured were in a serious condition. The police said 2 gunmen have also been killed. The Israeli army said troops were searching the area for suspects, as well as encircling several areas on the outskirts of Ramallah in the Israeli-occupied West Bank in response to the attack. French President Emmanuel Macron strongly condemned the terrorist attack, which Germany's Foreign Minister Johann Wadephul described as cowardly. Palestinian militant group the Hamas, which has been at war with Israel in the Gaza Strip for nearly 2 years, praised the attack, saying it was carried out by 2 Palestinian militants. Meanwhile, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu visited the site of the shooting and held a situation assessment. Indonesian President Prabowo Subianto has appointed Purbaya Yudi Sadewa as the country's new finance minister. Sadewa is an economist who previously served as the Chief Commissioner of the Indonesia Deposit Insurance Corporation. In the deadly anti-government protests across the country, protesters rallied over low wages, the unemployment rate and perks for lawmakers. And earlier, President removed Sri Mulyani Indravati as finance minister in a cabinet reshuffle on Monday. Sri Mulyani is an influential figure who once served as managing director of the World Bank and was finance minister under 3 different presidents. Her house was ransacked during the recent protests over lavish perks for lawmakers. Let's now take a look at some other stories making the news around the country today. The Indian Railways has started its first local relief train service between Katra and Sangaldan on Monday. This service aims to help local residents facing difficulties due to the closure of the Jammu-Srinagar National Highway following floods and landslides. A mock flood rescue exercise was conducted in Vellore, Tamil Nadu by the Fire Department. The drill demonstrated the use of rescue equipment and techniques to simulate rescuing individuals in emergencies, showcasing how simple household items can also be used to save lives. Well, it's a star-studded red carpet at the 50th Toronto International Film Festival, and fans are lining up outside theatres to catch a glimpse of their favourite stars. DD India's Munmun Bhattacharya brings you the buzz from Toronto's Festival Street. Take a look.
We're standing outside the Royal Alexandra Theatre. Red carpet arrivals have started happening here, and joining me is Pooja from India and Meena from Iran. Well, Pooja, tell us about your experience here this time around at the 50th TIFF. How does it feel to be here?
It's like a festival here. I'm here to see many celebrities from India and from here, and movies like Gandhi series, The Cage, the Monkey one, Anurag Kashyap's movie, things like that. So I'm looking forward to see many celebrities and enjoy the vibe of the city.
You've been here in the previous years. Tell us about, what is it that you remember of those years?
Yeah, so actually participating in the red carpets of the TIFF is so exciting and amazing for me. And every time I just actually wanted to be in the red carpet, see the, because I'm the fans of the actors and actresses. So I try to be here and be in the vibes of the, atmosphere here, and then enjoy watching the movies and even the red carpets and everything. So in general, it's very exciting, and it's a very nice experience.
What I really like is the words "I like me." The name of the documentary is taken from that movie, and towards the end of the movie, he says "I like me" when he was abandoned at the train station by Steve Martin, who then reunited and took him home for Christmas dinner because he had lost his wife many years before, and he spent his life traveling with that case at the back. He was a bathroom salesman who sold the little hangers for drapes over the when you're having your shower. So very interesting, funny movie. I'm glad we saw this here today.
So much excitement from within Canada, from outside Canada, from around the world. This is the car that was used in John Candy, I Like Me, the opening film on this Canadian comedy icon. With cameraman YK Loknath, this is Munmun Bhattacharya from Toronto for DD India.
Singer and actress Ariana Grande took home the top prize at the MTV VMAs on Sunday, claiming the Video of the Year award for her song Brighter Days Ahead. The Wicked star took the opportunity to encourage listeners of her music to keep persevering through their journeys with trauma and healing. Grande also bagged the award for Best Pop with the same song. Also, pop singer Lady Gaga was named Artist of the Year, prevailing over heavyweights Taylor Swift and Beyonce at the fan-voted honors. Other winners of the evening included Rose and Bruno Mars for their catchy pop hit APT, and newcomers Cat's Eye with their song Touch. Music legend Mariah Carey was also honoured with a Vanguard Prize for her long-established role in the industry. Now for sports, Indian hockey team qualified for the Super 4's stage after they crushed Singapore 12-0 in the Women's Asia Cup in China on Monday. India's victory was led by Mumtaz Khan and Amneet Kaur, who netted hat-tricks in Hangzhou city. The massive win also puts India on the top of Pool B due to better goal difference over Japan. India dominated the proceedings from the beginning and notched up 4 goals, with Mumtaz opening the scoring. India added 3 goals in the second quarter and 4 in the third to seal off a thumping win. They began the tournament with a commanding 11-0 win over Thailand and a 2-2 draw against Japan in the second game. And that's all we have for this edition of DD India Live, but do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. And for those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India's mobile app. It's available on both Android and iOS. Just scan the QR code on the screen and download the app right away. And we'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Gautam Roy. From all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India Live.